It's gonna sound real childish. Not reading directions. I know that sounds so minute, but every color company is not the same. Hey Slay Babes, we back with another video. Y'all know I like to jump right into it. Today we're talking about color mistakes. As we all love colors, from blues to blondes to pinks to oranges to the wildest, you know, even jet black. There's a lot of mistakes that I see people make when I watch either YouTube videos, TikToks, Reels, whatever it is. I'm seeing some things that may alter your color as far as you doing it yourself and things of that matter. So I'm going to go over the biggest mistakes I think I see online and even in my coloring, you know, coming up from hair school to now, on mistakes I've done and seen been done. So the first one we're going to do, it's going to sound real childish. Not reading directions. I know that sounds so minute, but every color company is not the same. Some colors require 2 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 2.5, 1 to 1.5. You have to read to see what their dilution to develop of the color is, because that makes a difference. It might make it too bright, might make it too dark, it might not stick. You have to read directions. Like toners. I see a lot of people use toners and the hair is dry. Toners are made for wet hair. Toners are supposed to be done after you bleach and shampoo the hair and lightly towel blot the hair, like on damp hair. Not soaking wet, but damp. So I see that a lot. Especially like the Adore say on it, you are supposed to use that after you have shampooed the hair. So reading the directions and what they require is very, very important. With that, I'm going to go into, sometimes you have to use the developer that comes with the bleach, or the developer that comes with the color. Like Rakin, they have a processing solution. It's not regular developer. It's probably not going to work for anybody else's color, and then regular developer won't work with theirs. So you have to see if they are able to be compatible with other color companies, because sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So please make sure, even if you get it a try and see what happens, or even read to say, hey, can I even use this on here? My next thing is, you have to learn the basics. I understand a lot of people are DIY, self-made, self-taught, and you might not have went to hair school. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that. But for somebody that went to hair school and kind of try to skip through hair school just to get my license, I understand the importance of paying attention. Now, I understand the importance of paying attention back then about color theory, about the decoloration process, how long to leave it on there, how high is too high, bond builders, different things like that. Knowing the primary colors, what makes green, what makes blue, what makes, I might be saying those colors wrong, but what mixes together to make this. Like the biggest thing I always see people say is like, oh, I put black on yellow hair and it turned green. Think about it. Blonde hair is an underbase of yellow. Black is the underbase of blue. When you mix blue and yellow together, you make green. So what you do is drop a couple of red in there into your black to cast out any green hues that's going to pop up. Or, two, you want to try to make sure your hair is not yellow. Use a little purple shampoo to kind of get them yellow hues out, and then, and still with the red, put the black on. So it doesn't just have that green cast coming up. So though, that is like one thing, is knowing the basics. Like, so a lot of people don't know that because they didn't go to hair school. And some people go to hair school and don't pay attention. I'm one of them. So it was, I literally had to go back and look at my book like, okay, now this makes sense. Oh, I know what level 1 is. I know what level 10 is. I know what NA means. I know, you know, all the different abbreviations. Because I went back to the basics, I can understand what they're telling me. Because most of these terminologies and stuff is for professionals. They expect you to know these things and know this terminology. And some of us are just winging it, trying stuff out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I always feel like trial and error is the best lesson, but sometimes when you know the basics, you don't waste product, you don't waste time, and things of that matter. So take the time, take a color class. There's plenty of information on YouTube. There's plenty of information online, but go back to the basics. Don't just jump right in and say, oh, I'm gonna slap some liner on it, and I'm gonna slap this color on it. No, learn different things, because if you got some really good hair, you can use some color and developer and get where you want and don't have to use the lightener. But I know vendors can fluctuate in the quality of hair and things of that matter. So that's a whole nother ballgame. And that goes into my next mistake, is making sure you have good hair. A lot of the times we think we have virgin hair and we don't. And the best way to find out is to color it. If your hair color doesn't lift that well, 9 out of 10 is not virgin hair. Like virgin hair, your regular hair can lift to bleach blonde white with processes, yes. But if you having a hard time even just getting a little dingy orange, you probably don't have virgin hair. I had somebody hit me up in my DMs like, hey, when I bleach my hair, I always get a green cast. And I read up, I'm like, I've never heard of that. I went to my color book and they said sometimes you'll have minerals on the hair. And we know that our hair comes from China or wherever it's coming from. It goes through all these different processes to get clean or whatever they use. So it could be minerals on the hair. So all she had to do is use some type of like, almost like a stripper to a certain extent to get that green hue. But you don't want to have to go through that selling hair. So that's something you want to know when you test your hair to say, hey, this is not color. Like when I test my hair and I use that Blonde Me, I can get a really nice blonde, almost white as one of these pieces. So, but I use Olaplex, I use a bond builder, I condition it, because at the end of the day, lifting hair is taking nutrients out the hair. So because you're doing that, you want to try to put those nutrients back in the best way you can. So that kind of goes back to my next thing is, don't rush it. Don't rush color. Like, if it needs to sit for 30 minutes, let it sit for 30 minutes. If it needs to sit longer, let it sit. Like, color is not exact science. You can do it this way one time and then do it another and it don't come out the same way. It still might come out nice, but it's not an exact science. So you have to be patient. You can't rush it. Sometimes you gotta, like, sometimes you'll get, let me see, I'm trying to fish here. You'll bleach it the first time and get here, and then the next time it'll get to the 613. I'm trying to grab it. The 613. Sometimes you have to take the time to let this process, this color process for 30 minutes, and then this one process for 30 minutes. Like, sometimes it does take that. I know with natural hair it does. Now, what we know, we try to rush it because it's not ours, but if we trying to keep the integrity of your hair intact, and that's why I say take your hair to a professional so it can be done correctly. And sometimes I know going to a professional don't always work out. But nonetheless, take your time. And in taking your time, that goes to my next point. I'm just rolling on along, y'all. My next part is saturation. Saturation makes a difference. You have to slap it on and let it, like, I would just cook a color class with Cynthia Lumsey, and she was like, I'd rather have a little excess product than not have enough, and then it'd be blotchy and that's for everything else. You know, blotches in certain places and stuff like that. And I felt that. Like, yeah, I want saturation. I want that color to be vibrant. I want it to be in every place possible. I don't want no holes, no spots, no light spots or dark spots, whatever. Saturation is very important. So sometimes you be like, oh, I only bought 2 boxes of color, so I gotta make it stretch. No, don't let it stretch. Go get another box. Like, make it, and I overbuy just in case I do run out, or maybe something, a mishap. Like, I'd rather be prepared. And what's the saying that goes? If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So sometimes I don't care about overbuying, because I've been in situations like, damn, I done ran out of this stuff. Beauty supply store closed, or they ain't got it. You know, all these different things. But if I would have just overbuy, and then when I start myself, I see myself getting low, I go buy some more. Boom. So, with saturation, I'm going to go into watercoloring. The mistakes I see with watercoloring is y'all using too much water. Golly, y'all fill up the whole sink, the whole container plastic. You don't need that much water. You don't. You don't need that much water. Literally soak the wig or the weave, wring it out, pour. I ain't gonna say wring it out, but you don't need that. I don't even know how to explain how much water you need, but you don't need that much. You're diluting it just to be able to dip it. It shouldn't be up, because if you use, the more water you use, the more dye you need to buy. So water, for the most part, is running water. It's free. So I'd rather use less water and only have about 2 bottles of color than to use more water and I got about 6 bottles of color just to get that perfect saturation. Like, stop using so much water. Like, I have a bleach bath video, and for what I see, people are overdoing either putting too much water, or you sitting here have to use 2 bottles of developer and a whole bucket of bleach. Like, it don't even take all that. You're using too much water or too much product. Just find the right consistency. Like, I'm gonna try to do a video on the perfect amount of water that should be in your watercolor method. It should be just enough to saturate your wig. It shouldn't be like, I don't know how to explain it, y'all, because everybody use different instruments for their watercolor method. But having that big old thing of water, it just ain't it. Look, let me help you. I'm not trying to come at nobody. I'm not saying anything's wrong. There's 7 ways to skin a cat. But the biggest thing I'm seeing is you guys are using too much water when it comes to watercoloring. And we're just going to leave that alone. Let me see. I got my little notes here, y'all. So, I think I actually went over everything, so I don't got nothing else to talk about. But I hope these tips helped you when it comes to coloring. It can be really fun. It can be a headache, but it's the creation. It's the creative side. I love being creative. I love being able to create something that I just think about, okay, I'm gonna give this a try. And I even get inspiration from other people. Like, there's so many good colors out here, and I don't always want to be exactly like what they have. I want my own little, you know, little sauce on it. So you don't even have to be imitating everybody and what they do and stuff like that. So with that being said, we're done for this video. I hope you guys liked it. Please comment and subscribe. Let me know what videos y'all want and what else I can do to help you. I'm doing my best. I actually have a new Facebook group. I'm actually gonna start a Patreon. So I get a lot of questions from my Instagram page. Everybody wants to pick my brain, and I just don't want to get overwhelmed with questions, so I'd rather put them all in one spot outside of Instagram, because what happens is it's gonna boot you down to the bottom, and then I'm not gonna see it, then you're gonna think I'm not responding when really I didn't even see the message. Or sometimes it goes to the request and I don't even see it at all. So I'd rather have a place where I can put all the questions in and I can be able to get them done in a timely fashion as far as me answering them every day. And it is $5 a month, so I hope you guys invest. I will link that in my bio about the group. It's going to be more. I'm going to do color formulas, you know, different things like that. I'm going to still have information here, but when it gets to more into detail and really investing into what I'm learning to teach you guys, I just need a little bit of help. I'm not trying to rob you blind or nothing like that. I ain't charging an arm and a leg. But for certain situations, when it comes to me taking the time out and to do things and find this information, I feel like I should be a little compensated, just a smidge. But I haven't fully decided what I'm going to put on YouTube separated from what I'm going to put on my Patreon. So I'm still in the works of that. So I just want the Patreon more so to be like a more one-to-one thing. Not even going to say one-to-one, because obviously it would be more than one person. But, you know, just more of a personal level for me to kind of help you out compared to you just watching my YouTube video and possibly asking a couple questions in the comments. So we'll see. It's coming soon. I do have it set up already, so I'm working on it, y'all. I'm trying to get so much done, but hope to see you guys next video. See you later, slave babes.